Yeah, the chain of events is like somebody chopped down a tree and built a musical instrument, and then somebody learned how to play it, and then somebody composed something on it, and then somebody on this other end over here learned how to make a microphone out of some potassium sulfate, some crystals, and then amplified it with some transistors and tubes and all that. And then they got together and made a recording, became a record, this thing with grooves, and you can see it. You can actually see the music in it.
Hello and welcome to Here in LA, Atwater Village Edition. Today, we sit down with a very special guest, Mr. Money Mark. He's a musician, a music instrument collector, and a carpenter. You might know Mark from his many solo albums and also his work with the Beastie Boys, where he was instrumental in helping them discover their musical style once they decided to shy away from samples. We'll talk about what it was like to build the G-Sun studio right off of Glendale Boulevard, growing up in Gardenia, where he was the illest, and where he likes to eat now in Atwater. So please welcome Money Mark.
So what'd you have for breakfast today, Mark?
I had a vegan chocolate donut and a decaf oat latte, and I ate some of my leftover Mediterranean food from Dune last night. Dune is in Atwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was the Dune in downtown, but it's basically the same Dune. Yeah, I'm not really drinking caffeine right now, but during the Beastie Boy days of recording Check Your Head in Atwater, across the street was an osteria, Noni's. Now it's called Hail Mary, I think, but it was called Noni, and we went there every day for lattes and dinner.
Hey, everybody. I am here with a musical legend, Money Mark. Mark, welcome.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here. It's a nice situation you got here. Like it's cozy.
Thank you. We are going to be talking about Atwater Village, where Mark has done some of his best musical work. We'll find out some of his favorite spots. I actually lived in Atwater when you were recording with the Beastie Boys in the 90s.
Oh wow.
I was there for the earthquake. And
the riots.
You guys may have been involved in riots. I was
92.
I was I was still in Santa Barbara then.
Oh, okay.
So anyhow, Mark, great having you. I think a lot of people don't realize that you were on pretty much every Beastie Boys record except the first one.
Paul's Boutique, I may have been in there playing ping pong.
That was you playing ping pong?
But I'm not officially on that record, but I was definitely around and getting to know just hanging out with them, getting to know them.
Are you good at ping pong?
Oh no. No, I'm not. I don't try. I mean, I think I could be good, but
everything's practice, right? Okay, so
yeah, according to Malcolm Gladwell, everything is just practice.
That's right. 10,000 hours, is that his thing?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so you have an incredible origin story in regards to the Beasties. You, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm wrong a lot, you were fixing the gate of the studio, or Mario C invited you to...
There was when the Beastie Boys came to Los Angeles, they got a deal at Capitol, and they all three moved to Los Angeles, and they were all in this one house, and even the Dust Brothers were in this house, the G Spot up in the hills.
Okay, the G Spot was the house that they rented from the old couple, and that's yeah,
it was. I guess he was a director, right? And then she was a costumer or something, and
which is where they got their cool clothes for their They're videos.
Yeah,
They're cool 70s
I think
clothes.
they broke into the closet, which they weren't supposed to like open this certain door, and they did. It's like you tell someone not to open it. Don't tell the Beastie Boys to not open that door. They opened a lot of doors. Um, and one of them I was standing behind. No, Mike had crashed his car into the gate and it was busted.
Oh.
And then I was working as a set carpenter on the Hollywood Center Studios lot, working on. There was a Pee Wee's Playhouse was going on, and I was building a few things for that set. And then
Hold on a second. That was one of the best TV sets there is, right?
it was pretty cool. I mean, I wasn't the AD on there. I was just working for the set company that was building the sets for the designer, and then
So like Cherry and Globy and
all that. Yeah.
the door for the cowboy guy.
Yeah. Well, so I was my team was like me and a couple other people were in case they needed something like on a whim, like, oh, we need a baby stroller or we need something, and then we'd build it really quick.
So the line, if you give him some wood, he'll build you a cabinet.
That's right. Absolutely.
You are that guy.
That's right.
I have wood right here.
Yeah, I see it. I've
clearly
been looking at it. I've been waiting for you to turn your back so I could like sneak it out the door.
Okay, were you always this gifted at carpentry?
I studied theater and music in school. So in theater, there was I was interested in being an actor, but at the time there wasn't really that many roles for me to, I could play a gang member or something, but so like it's totally opened up now. So and probably way too late for me to get into it, but
Impossible.
I learned, how to build sets, how to make a world on stage. So, I got to swing a hammer and I got to paint and then do all this stuff. And so out of school, I got a job at this Cinnabar was what it was called, the set company. And then that lot used to be Zoetrope.
Oh yeah,
used to be Coppola's lot, and I guess he lost it after he made this movie, One from the Heart, which we did this forced perspective of Las Vegas, a Las Vegas Strip. Tom Waits, Crystal Gale did the score. I love that movie actually, and I was so happy to like be working on that lot and then walk through those sound stages. My drive home from Las Palmas was to the freeway. Halfway in between there was Delicious Vinyl offices, and a buddy of mine, Mario C, had been working in there, and the Dust Brothers, producing this unknown artist named Tone Loc, and they struck it big with this Wild Thing song, and Matt Dyke, and the Dust Brothers and Mario put a bunch of those records together for Delicious Vinyl, and I'd stop there and smoke a joint and play piano and goof around with some music with them for the longest time. But I was still known as the guy who could swing the hammer, and then when the Beasties came to town, they hired the Dust Brothers to produce Paul's Boutique.
That's right.
And then there was a Mike Hit the Gate, and then I was called to fix it. And then I remember that night, I finished the gate, and I think Adam pulls up in his car. Horovitz, and it's like, hey, there's a party tonight. Come to the party. So I go to the party, and then we all walk in together, and everyone just thought that I was part of the New York posse because they didn't really know anybody in Los Angeles, but it was like a party inviting people, and more or less that's kind of how it started. We got to know each other, and we kind of were, found our like-mindedness, and and I had collected a bunch of musical instruments for I don't know what reason for the longest time, for my whole life. And all of a sudden, those musical instruments are being put to use. And I'm building a studio now. It was Mario and Mike and Adam searching for a place to build a studio. I'm doing all the talking here, so
that's good.
So and as the story goes here, the Paul's Boutique costed them so much money in samples. Their accountant kind of dictated to them that they couldn't do that again, and that the rest of your money, which is very low at this point, you're going to have to figure out how to stretch this money into making the next record. And really, the only way to have done it, and also for the reasons of like the major labels at that time, things were changing in the music business, and the labels kind of were giving the bands license to, to cultivate their own fans. So the Beastie Boys got their imprint, the Grand Royal imprint. And so Capitol was like, fine, if the thing fails, it won't have our name on it, So it's like,
Is that why they did
well, I
it?
know, I heard that. It's like,
Right.
like the Beastie Boys knew their fans better than than the people in the office at the record label, because things were just turning so fast.
And wasn't the thing that Capitol put all their effort into the new Donny Osmond record instead of...
Yeah, that was the joke at the time. Yeah, but which wasn't a joke. It was like it actually happened. Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, who doesn't love Donny Osmond?
Yeah.
But
who doesn't love Donny Osmond? Raise your hand. Oh, I see it.
But still, they're coming off of the biggest debut album ever of a group. Why wouldn't you think? Well, maybe
I don't know.
Maybe we'll put a few bucks behind the Beastie
I don't know
Boys.
all those strategies. I think the idea of like, being categorized as a novelty act, it doesn't work for you. It works kind of against you.
Oh, is that what they were considered, you think?
I think so.
Huh.
Yeah, that was the perception.
Even though Run DMC and LL Cool J all came out of Def Jam and they were respected, right? Because they were white, they're a novelty?
Maybe, I'm not really sure. I'd say that nobody at the time knew hip hop was just gonna like change the world the way it did. At that moment, it was still like guitars and guitars versus samplers. I think guitars were still winning, but now at this point in 2022, we have seen, and now we are believers.
So, Mark, did you grow up in LA?
I grew up in Gardenia. I'm the illest motherfucker from here to Gardenia.
That's you too. Which is, okay, one of the greatest lines in rap. Wouldn't you think?
You think so?
Well, because it's the epitome of the Beastie Boys. It's parody.
I like Keyboard Money Mark. He ain't having it. Just give him some wood and he'll build you a cabin.
Money Mark, we ain't having it. Just give him some wood and he'll build you a cabinet.
That's a great.
That's not one of the greatest lines in rap history, but it's one of my favorite lines. But anyway,
it's okay.
No,
that one's great because it's super hard to rhyme, and I can't see many other hip hop people trying to pull that rhyme off. But from here to Gardenia, especially when License to Ill was so East Coast based,
right?
To drop that in is basically saying, "Oh yeah, we're in LA."
Yeah. Gardenia was the all-American city. So you're going to go to all these neighborhoods. And when you get to Gardenia, you're probably going to call me again. But Gardenia was one of the first, dubbed one of the first all-American cities. This was probably in the middle 80s that this all-American city kind of slogan was
What made
around.
Gardenia?
Because it was just a melting pot.
Oh.
It was like, it was a true melting pot.
Did you go to Gardenia High?
I went to Gardenia High.
What was what do you think the demographics were approximately?
Well, there was busing, so who knows? But there were. I'll tell you about Gardenia High. Gardenia High is we're supposed to be on Atwater Village.
We are.
Real quick. Gardenia High had a farm. There was it was a total mixture of race. And the faculty was a total mixture of genders, and there was fluid, and
even back then.
but no one talked about it. And then there was, our neighboring city was Compton. And on the extreme, the neighboring city was Torrance. He went from like one of the richest neighborhoods in California, Torrance, all the way to this other area that was also rich in culture. Like believe me, like all of these amazing musicians. And to this day, the Locke High School, Reggie Andrews, guess his name is, like he was the music person there at the school, and all these musicians came out of there. But that whole area, I remember seeing Patrice Rushen down the street, and I think she lived at Carson at the time, and Dougal Chancellor was like in the neighborhood too. There was just all these fantastic musicians. It was a great place to grow up. And then we couldn't make it unless we were gonna be in LA or Hollywood or something. So we
And you
just
wanted to
started.
make it in music.
At this point, I thought maybe I would go into theater or some kind of designing something, sets or something. And then it just started happening. Yeah, so I just went with it.
Did you eventually move to Atwater?
I did not. I moved to Echo Park.
Oh,
Yeah.
so when the boys were in Atwater,
Yeah.
or at least the recording studio,
I was still in Gardenia a little bit, and then I moved to Echo Park up on Mohawk, top of Mohawk.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's a good area.
At the time, there was there was there was a local um, gang in that area, and I lived next door to them, so I got to see all kinds of stuff in that.
You know, it's
backyard.
crazy. People say, "Why would you move next door to a gang?"
Yeah.
When I moved to Atwater, I had no idea that our next door neighbor were in a gang too until they spray painted the tree. And we were like, now why would you spray paint a tree? And later we realized you spray paint everything you want if you're in a gang.
Yeah.
Did you know that you were moving in next door?
I did not know.
Right.
I did not know.
Right.
But they would be hungry. I'd give them food, and or I was a good neighbor to them. I don't know. I didn't get past that.
Right.
All I know was that they would be out all night long, and then they'd come home, and the mom they'd be most afraid of their mom.
Aw.
They'd go whatever they were doing all night long. They'd come home, and the mom's yelling at them, and then you could see like fear in their eyes.
So, okay, you would then go to Alvarado and cut through Silver Lake, right past Rockaway Records
Yeah. Go
get-
under that little freeway part.
to get into Atwater,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would jam with the boys. The way that I am picturing it in my head is everybody would get a little baked, pick up their instruments, and just rock out for a while until
But there was basketball.
you had to play
We had a
basketball.
yeah, we had a half court. I think it was mostly Checkerhead is mostly basketball.
Were you any good at basketball?
I was really good with basketball.
Oh,
Yeah, I was a ball boy for the Lakers.
get out of town.
No, there's if you search search engine,
You're like the
ESPN, Money Mark, I think Stefan interviewed me. He was in a band called Caveman. He also was a sports writer, and there's an interview there. You could read that.
what era Lakers?
This is the 71-72 season. I was 12 years old.
I can't even. Who do you remember who's on
Oh,
that?
that was the greatest team ever.
Jamal Wilkes.
Let's see. Wilkes was it was Gail Goodrich,
Yes.
Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain,
Uh-huh.
Elgin Baylor for part of the season.
Wow. This is a
Jim
good team.
Jim McMillan.
You were 12 years old. How did you get from Gardenia to the Forum?
Well, my parents had to drive me.
And they were totally into it?
Yeah.
Are you
Sure.
watching Winning Time?
I watched some college ball just recently.
No. The HBO. There's an HBO series.
Oh, with
called-
John C. And,
Yeah. Are you
I
watching
haven't
this?
I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, he's a buddy of mine, and
Is
he
he?
sent me a screenshot of him and who's the gentleman playing Magic,
I don't know, but he
Yeah.
looks just like him.
and there's at the game. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to get your take because Jerry West is not looking good in this portrayal.
Well, wow. You know,
which is shocking.
Jerry West. Um, I love Jerry West, and you might like him more after you read his book, which his wife encouraged him to write. Like he didn't want to tell his story, and then I'm glad that she convinced him to tell his story.
Let's go to Atwater Village
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah,
And I feel so blessed that I was there. I was a giant fan. I had Beastie Boys posters all over my room on 3300 Glenhurst.
Right.
Little did I know that the three bad brothers I knew so well were so close.
they were just a minute away.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well, we didn't have the internet.
no. And the paparazzi didn't seem to care.
No, they were maybe kind of written off, I think, at that time.
Which is fine.
I think right after Paul's Boutique, they were written off. Felt weird.
It is weird. You know what? How it made me feel a little bit in retrospect is Weezer after Pinkerton. The Blue Album was such a giant hit.
Yeah.
Pinkerton, creative,
Yeah.
interesting, just like Paul's Boutique. Because they didn't sell as well as their debuts, a lot of the critics wrote them off. And it seemed like Rivers and Weezer got super depressed, but it didn't seem like the Beastie Boys got depressed. Did you find them as depressed people when you were playing basketball with them?
No, not at all. I mean, it wasn't. I think there was some underlying pressure to do something with the dough that they had, the rest of the dough that they had. But I really think that after 3 or 4 months of building the studio and then putting instruments in there and microphones and laying down a few tracks, got pretty confident.
They knew they still had it.
They knew that there was something was going to happen. We just didn't know what it was.
Now, what was different about Check Your Head was it didn't rely on samples. I mean, not that relying on samples made Paul's Boutique bad. I think it's a masterpiece because of those samples.
Well, it's a masterpiece because of the samples, which kind of is another kind of entrepreneurship. It's like buying work, repurposing work or something, but which was a kind of a new thing at the time.
Mm-hmm. To that extent.
Yeah, but when you're playing music, you're also doing the same thing. You're taking something you like, some James Jamerson bass line, and getting it and twisting it up too. I mean, you're creating your own master. But that's really the only difference, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
So they realized in Paul's Boutique we can't do that any longer.
No, their accountant realized and told them,
which is understandable. And they pick up their own instruments. They get some musicians like you and Mario C. And
they were in a band. They were in a band before, so they played.
Yeah, but it wasn't this kind of music.
No, and it helped them turn a corner. That's what it did. And when we got to So What You Want, the organ thing at the beginning there sounds like a sample, but that's me playing it. So
right on.
It got to that point where a song like Gratitude, where there's no samples, and it's becomes a big song. But then I think the first single was Jimmy James, which is Hendrix, but then also mixed in with other beats. But the playing of the instruments was kind of the key thing for Check Your Head, and creating that syntax of the way to work carried over to Ill Communication too. But Ill Communication was made half in Atwater and half in New York City.
Oh,
yeah,
because they missed New York.
Well, yeah, I guess maybe so. Yeah, I mean, it was about time to go back. Yeah.
Did you go out there to record in New
Yeah,
York
I
as well?
did. Yeah.
Were they a different Beastie Boy in New York?
Well,
as
they
were?
lived in the. I mean, like the two cities are not comparable. I like there's just a different thing going on. So,
I guess what I'm trying to get to is, do you think they felt more comfortable back home in New York?
they felt pretty comfortable in Los Angeles. I mean, they live in Los Angeles now.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So no huge change for you.
I think it's just like in your own vicinity, your own world. Like you can make home wherever.
Yeah.
But New York, it was special back then. Right now, I don't know. I haven't been to New York in a little while. I'm just hearing that it's like, I mean, everything changes.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So when you're laying down the keyboards for these songs, is it a jam session first that leads to that, or do they already have something written and they say, "What can you add to this?"
Well, the magic of the album, like let's say Check Your Head, it's a little bit like a mixtape. The whole magic of it is that every song kind of has a different starting point. And I think when you work on music and you do the same thing over and over, you're going to come out of this. Your input's going to resemble your output. So sometimes we'd start with just, uh, I mean, typically you could have a beat and like, hey, this is a cool beat, and let's put something over it. But since we were playing our own instruments, not sampling. When you're sampling, you kind of go for the beat first. But when you're playing your own instruments, there's other things that can happen. And, the whole Sabotage thing, which was later a record, it started with Ab's bass line, which is, and then everyone jumped in. But so sometimes it was a guitar part or a sound, and everyone was on the same page. Like, we're all trying to move forward, trying to make something here. And everyone chime in. It was cool.
It seemed like the overall vibe for, let's say, Check Your Head to Ill Communication was like 70s hard funk. Would you agree?
I don't know that category, but 70s hard funk. Okay.
Okay, like the Shaft soundtrack maybe was a ghost spirit.
If
I say so.
Yeah, if you say so. I'm gonna let you say it because I'm on the other side of it, so
Are
I
you?
don't know.
What side is that?
I don't know.
What side?
Well, we're making that stuff. So the recipient is getting it somehow and doing something. It's going in your head and churning out some other ideas. But
Can we talk about G Sound for a second?
yes,
This is the studio that
G Sun,
son
of G. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a G spot.
Is there?
Well, that's where they lived. With the gate.
Oh, I didn't know.
It was called the G spot.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
the director's name was I forgot his name, but it was a big G on the gate. That was why it was called the G spot. Okay, but G Sun happened because I think the building, there was a business there.
Okay,
and it was Gilson or something. It wasn't Gelson like the supermarket. I think it was Gilson, and the I and the L had fallen off.
Oh,
the sign. So it definitely just said G Sun.
Right.
It was just G Sun.
So the studio was upstairs.
Yes. It was a ballroom dance hall. Yeah, ballroom dancing.
And I heard like
had floors like this, beautiful wood floors.
Well, I hope they were more beautiful than these. But it's a place that people could practice dancing, ballet, jazz, whatever it is.
Right.
And apparently the Beastie Boys took it over, started renting it out, turned it into a studio. Did you help build the studio as well?
Yeah, that's right.
How about that?
I remember Mike and Adam carrying some drywall up the stairs. There was no elevator. Boy.
On this same, is this the same block as the Club T? That little bar?
Yeah, it's the next block over.
Yeah. So right on Glendale Boulevard.
Well, no, it's on the same block, but it's some doors down.
Yeah. What did you remember enjoying about Atwater back then?
That it was quiet. For sure. It was
Yeah.
really quiet.
It's to me, it was kind of hidden. Talk about a G spot. It was kind of hidden between the craziness of Hollywood and almost the 5 freeway was a nice divider between
Yeah. The
that
rally,
world,
the alley river is what it was, the main
the
divider.
river.
The river and then the freeway. But, you know, at that moment in the early 90s, the Silver Lake folks would never come over to the Atwater side. That was like far.
Isn't it crazy?
It was far, and it was also, what would you do there? There's nothing to do. It's like, why would you even go there? You know.
There was the Bigfoot Lodge was over there. I
Well,
heard
was,
you,
yeah, that was on the other block. Yeah.
but I heard you guys would party at the little golf course, the little 3-putt.
No, we never did.
Oh, you never did.
No,
But did you go to that?
we never went to that whole street, the Los Feliz street.
Anytime you wanted to party, you'd go to Hollywood.
No, well, you know what? Actually, we didn't have to. We had our own clubhouse.
People would come to
Yes,
the
we'd
Atwater
come-
Clubhouse.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's better.
Yeah, we didn't have to go to Hollywood. We didn't want to. No way.
Hollywood just wasn't cool.
We just didn't have to go there. We had everything. We had a place to chill. Everyone had keys. We could go there anytime. You know, that's where we were working and playing basketball and whatever, everything.
Is the B3 your favorite keyboard for that era?
No. I'm actually on that Check Your Head record. There's no B3 on the album.
What are you playing? Do you remember?
I'm playing a Korg CX3.
Oh,
Yeah, some old solid state organ that probably was on a bunch of reggae or ska, a lot of ska records, and yeah.
are you a religious man, Mark?
You mean in this fact that
Well, do you pray at night?
do I pray? No, not per se. I mean, I feel blessed constantly.
When something creative can just come out of somebody, I maybe there's something faulty with me, but I feel like there's got to be something else going on. Do you ever feel that way?
Maybe I feel tapped in, but I work hard at trying to keep my slate clean, but I also work hard at I make an effort at trying to not judge things, just keep myself open, you know.
So when you say
And I think when you just keep yourself open, like you just are inviting something.
So when you say keep your slate clean, you mean your mind, your spirit.
Yeah,
Just be open to the
Yeah.
vibe of the moment.
that's right. And then things will just happen. When I'm called to do a session, I will tell them like, hey, when I get there, I'm ready to do it. So have it ready. And then, you know, okay, it's ready. Come in. I was reading about James Gadsden on one of the Kendrick Lamar tracks where they hired Gadsden, this amazing drummer. He is, you can see him on some footage of playing drums with Bill Withers, playing this cool blue swirl drum set. He got called in for the session, and then he sat at the drum set, and you know the microphones are on, and he put the headphones on. He said, "Play the track," and then he was banging it out on his pants. And all right, we got it. That's it. And they used it. Yeah.
He intended to only play on his legs?
No, he was just trying to work it out. And they recorded it, and they got it.
I love that kind of creativity. Don't you?
Yes, of course, yeah.
But that's why you collect all these different instruments and stuff, right?
They were like colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you're a painter, you go to the store and buy colors.
that's right.
Back in the day, you couldn't do that. You'd have to. People were color makers and finders and makers, right? They'd hike up the mountain, find some flowers, and grind them and whatever. But for a person like me who loves sound and colors of sound, yeah, collecting musical instruments is the thing.
So, okay, again, are you guys just stoned, tired from playing basketball, and you're just kind of bumbling around the studio, just like playing with
No, we
ideas?
kind of weren't bumbling around. We had like purpose, like, and honestly, we weren't really that stoned. We were energetic, and being stoned would have. I mean, it depends what you're smoking, but even at that time, like it wasn't scientific. The marijuana. It's like that looks cool, and then there was guys who knew.
Right.
There were people who knew, like, oh, that's this, Jack Herrera stuff, and that's the freaking. If you smoke that, you're gonna go to sleep. And
Right.
So probably it was all sativa,
Yes.
But then we weren't that stoned or drunk. There was caffeine and marijuana a little bit, but it was,
Well, this is why you guys were able to produce so many records.
there's a lot of outtakes for Check Your Head. There's a bunch of tapes. There's like tons and tons of tapes.
Because the boys were learning how to play this music?
So we were just recording everything. Yeah, that was cool.
So we shouldn't be surprised if Capitol, who now feels okay putting their name on the album, if they come out with some like 3 CD box.
Well, I don't know. That would be the boys wanting to put it together.
But I'm saying if that happened, you would say, well, of course, there's
yeah, I can tell you right now it's not going to happen. But yeah,
because the boys are that idealistic.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not in that whole mix anymore.
Right, but they've never done it before. They just,
yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I also think that this is maybe I don't want to say Gen X thing, but it seems like there was an era where bands were just super idealistic and weren't into having 18 greatest hits albums.
Yeah.
Or rehash stuff. They wanted to go forward.
That's right.
And we haven't seen a unreleased B-sides box set from them. Right?
There's a book and a movie.
Did you like the movie?
It was fun. Yeah.
Did you go when it was at the Montalban?
Yeah, I did.
I was there too.
Yeah.
And it was great to hear them tell their stories, especially in that way. Were there any stories there that were surprises to you, or had you heard them all?
I kind of knew most of those stories. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you've had 2 or 3 solo albums?
Oh no, I have 7.
7 solo albums.
Yeah. But no, most of them are. I mean, I didn't promote any of my records, so they're just there. I wasn't trying to sell. I don't know. Maybe the companies that I was working for didn't like that, but I wasn't out to do that whole cycle. I just didn't like that cycle. I still don't agree with it. And touring for me was it was fun to tour with the Beastie Boys, but then to go on my own tours, which I did that a little bit. I would open for the Beastie Boys, and there was a tour with Tribe, and I opened the show with Tribe and then the Beastie Boys, and that whole tour was difficult to do because I was like triple duty or double duty, but
because you had to play for your own band.
Yeah, it was mostly triple duty because I had to arrive at a different time, had different sound check times, and hold another band, and then I also had to keep the Beastie Boy schedule too. Mm-hmm. So it was really kind of hard.
Were you on the tour, the '94 Lollapalooza tour?
Beastie Boys, yeah.
Yeah. That was an amazing lineup.
In that lineup, we became friends with everybody. Like everyone became friends.
Yeah.
I'm talking like
Parliament.
It was Breeders and George and Parliament, Funkadelics and Green Day and the Boredoms and
Yeah.
It was just a fun and the
Smashing Pumpkins, yeah.
and the Pumpkins.
Yeah. It was crazy. Green Day had to open.
Green Day opened and Pumpkins closed. Yeah.
That was such a great Lollapalooza that I was living in San Francisco at the time. I came down to LA to see it again a couple days later at Cal State Dominguez because it was too much music. You know, like I think even like the Muffs or somebody was on stage 2. Like stage 2 was a great concert all by itself.
Yeah, it
with the
was.
Boredoms, I think were
The
on.
Far Side and the Far Side. No, I think the Breeders were on the main stage.
Yeah,
Alcoholics, I think, were there.
it was nuts. It was super nuts. But again, you had to be. Also, I think at the time, Green Day had the #1 album. So here's America's top selling band. You have to be there at like noon to see it. And they played their whole album, which was fine because it was good.
Yeah, let's sell more beer, you know? That's what you try to do. You try to get the crowd there pretty early.
But I wouldn't have put them in front of anybody else. They were the new
Well,
kids.
at the time, you know, that's they were a promising band, you know.
Right. Who knew?
There was a lot of bands that had hits at that time, and that, you know, I was it. They just had the one hit. But who
That's
knew?
right.
Who knew?
Right. Okay, so let's talk about Atwater today. When was the last time you were in Atwater recently?
Well, I went to get my Dune.
Oh, good.
Used to go to Proof Bakery, like in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
That was I want to say that was a Dominican bakery back in the day, in the 90s. There was a shoe repair shop. The woman there was not very nice, and she had a key making machine. We'd make keys, and 1 out of every, 5 weren't good. So we had to go back.
Oh no.
And she wasn't very nice. There was a guy. There was a parrot store there. They just sell birds. No, it was a bird. And it was just birds. It was a pet store, but it was just birds. And then there's a Latino market across the street next to the Dominican bakery. And at night there was some gang activity. You know, there would be broken windows, and there was a couple. Yeah. I noticed looking at old footage, photos, that the little trolley used to go down the middle of Glendale Boulevard.
Which makes sense now because that boulevard is so wide.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
can kind of see where it would fit.
Right in that middle section. Yeah. It was the trolley, right? The
red line or the red car.
Red car.
Yeah.
And it would go from downtown through that area, and people would ride to Union Station was, the main terminal.
So when did you know I can play music with great musicians and even not great musicians, but I can hold my own?
I don't know. It all kind of snuck up on me.
Did you start with piano?
I started with everything. Yeah, it wasn't just piano.
Was it Gardenia?
In Gardenia, yeah. I started actually with, I would have to say, with a tape machine and a microphone. I had an SM57 and a 3340 TX 4-track machine, and I would just record with that, either a little guitar or a little piano or singing into it, bang out a little beat.
How old were you about this time?
15, 16.
So you're in high school with a 4-track.
Yeah, my parents were cool, man. They let me build a little studio in the house. Yeah, wow. It's awesome. Yeah.
Your parents are Mexican?
My mother's Mexican and my father's Japanese. Yeah.
Japanese.
Well, my father. Here it is. This is the essence of it all. Here, my father was an electronic engineer, and my mother was from a family of musicians, and so that pairing, like that's me.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
So if you're singing or playing the guitar, your family's not going to tell you to knock it off.
Exactly. And then also if I'm recording and using my electronics, and like they're gonna also help me like figure out like how that shit works.
Wow. Did you ever take lessons?
I did for a second, yeah, but I cheated and I didn't read the sheet music. I just would memorize the pieces.
Do you
So
know?
that's like cheating. So then they told me to go to ear training, and that was the best thing that ever happened, to just do ear training. Because then the teacher, the first day was, what song, Ms. Peterson. She's like, what song do you want to learn? I'm like, what? You get to choose my song? It shows a Stevie Wonder song, of course. And I got to. It was. I mean, I'm glad I left that other class, music class, piano class. But at the same time, now I wished I would have been able to do both. But I chose my path.
You still don't know how to read music.
No,
There's a lot of musicians.
I mean
like
I can do it, but not sight read. Yeah.
that. Would you say that half the musicians you work with are in your boat where they don't really?
I don't know that many musicians who. Well, let me put it this way: I know musicians who read music, but I don't know any musicians that need to read music, like in the kind of music that we're doing. They don't really need to do it. And a lot of it's just tradition, because nowadays you can just say, "Oh, play it like that," like that Mike Bloomfield thing, or play like the Carol Kay thing. Not a little bit like James Jamerson, but play it more like Carol Kay. You can do that kind of thing.
So really, the thing that musicians need to know is the history of music.
You freaking the only thing a musician really needs to know and do is to listen. And I think that strategy just helps you in life, just to have emphatic listening, listen to people, get a perspective of how else are you going to do it. So yeah, your output really should be just small, and what you're putting into it, what's backing that little bit of output should be like this grand thing. That's the trick. So going back to your whole thing, how does it come to you? Well, you have this giant, huge well of ideas, and then you really only need 3 or 4 drops of it, and then that's how it works.
I had an art teacher who told me that painting is really just looking,
Yeah,
and it sounds like playing
it's
is listening.
Absolutely, 100%.
And so, aren't we living in a great time now where I can tell my Siri to play any of those?
I don't know if that's a great time. Not, most things still aren't digitized.
Well, that's true, but let's say I have a 6-year-old
Yeah.
or a 10-year-old, and I'm like, have you ever heard Stevie Wonder before? And I can have Alexa play Stevie Wonder right now.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was 10 years old, I only had 4 records.
Yeah, I'm mixed about that.
Are you?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Because of royalties and all that?
No, just because it shouldn't just be that magical.
It just takes some work.
It shouldn't come out of just thin air, which it does right now. It's like coming to bizarre.
It is bizarre.
So in my head, here's there's this whole the chain of events. Now you can just whatever the name is. I don't want to say the name because that thing will go on.
It's gonna.
So, the chain of events is like somebody chopped down a tree and built a musical instrument, and then somebody learned how to play it, and then somebody composed something on it, and then somebody on this other end over here learned how to make a microphone out of some potassium sulfate, some crystals, and then amplified it with some transistors and tubes and all that, like, and then they got together and made a recording, then that, it's just like it became a record, this thing with grooves, and you can see it. You can actually see the music in it. Like now it's just so bizarre. Like it just pops up. Well, you can see the groove, then the needle gets those grooves and interprets them, and then
And there was a joy in finding these records at record stores.
well, there is a joy there. Yes, there's still a joy. It's still a joy to find new music. And so maybe that's, like I definitely am like Apple Music, and every day I'm finding a new record.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of times it's this records that I have in my catalog that I'm just finding. And I noticed that there's a giant chunk more records in my collection that are not on
that's right.
digitized.
Was Sabotage made in LA?
That was made, God, I can't remember. I think that was made, gee, I can't remember.
It's okay. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that was New York.
It sounds more New Yorky to me.
I think it was New York.
It sounds a little aggressive.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah. There were some other music studios there in Atwater.
At that time?
Yeah, they
Huh.
were just sneaky little music studios, but all the music scene was in Silver Lake, just like right over the bridge.
Spaceland.
Spaceland was a big one. Yeah,
I love
It was a
Spaceland.
stopping ground for every band played there.
Back then.
Back then, every band that ended up on K-Rock played at Spaceland.
And isn't it crazy that the parking was bad? It didn't have the name Spaceland on the thing, and everyone still knew to go. And it sounded great, even when they moved the stage from
One side to the other
yeah,
side. Yeah,
it still sounded great. You had the little smoke room
yeah.
in the back.
The plexiglass.
I love that place. I think that was my favorite club.
There you go.
Do you have a favorite LA club of before or after?
Well, when the boys got here, they did a performance at the country club in the Reseda.
Doug Weston's.
Doug Weston's Country Club. It was still open at that time. They booked a show only to perform the song that became the animation one,
Oh,
like Shadrach or
yeah, Shadrach.
yeah. So they booked a show just for that to film it, and then Adam and then Yao hired a team of people to colorize it. Yeah.
Huh.
I remember going to that venue a lot as a kid. Favorite venue now? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
The Wiltern.
I don't know.
Wow.
The Wiltern's nice.
Okay.
Yes. I just saw the Linda Lindas play there.
You did.
Yeah, with Jawbreaker. Yeah.
Do you think that they have a little bit of a future?
Of course they do. Yeah.
Because they're like, what, 14 years old?
I went to the record release party yesterday. Yeah,
Huh.
last night. Troubadour.
Nice.
The Troubadour is a cool club.
Yeah.
It's got a vibe. It's an old club that's got a vibe, and you can, if the walls could talk, kind of thing.
I feel like it's all it's got because it's so small. It's so
Yeah,
small and
looks like
awkward.
It's great to see a band there, though.
It sure is.
If you want to see your favorite band that close up, yeah, that's cool.
I saw Dinosaur Jr. there a number of years ago, and that guy doesn't care where he plays. It's a 10.
It's all on full all the time. Yeah, same with Mike Watt. Same with but even all those guys, Pearl Jam played there. They'd kill it. The Stones played at the Echoplex not long ago.
Yeah.
And I heard they killed it. Well, before COVID, but
Right.
it doesn't matter, man.
The venue doesn't matter to you.
No, not really.
It's the vibe.
I mean,
Well, it's true because, again, Lollapalooza was a damn field, and it was incredible.
Polo Field. Oh no, Lollapalooza was
In Cal State, Dominguez Hills, it was just a dumb field. I forget where it was in San Francisco. Maybe it was
What, a Lollapalooza?
yeah.
Well, it's Tibetan Freedom. We didn't talk about Tibetan Freedom.
I was there too.
Yeah,
Tell me about
that
it.
was Golden Gate Park.
It sure was.
19
Foggy and cold.
96, I believe.
Yeah.
Foggy and cold.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but yeah.
What do
I
you
was on-
remember?
well, I don't. I was backstage, so it was cool. I mean, we were with everybody backstage. Richie Havens, man,
Sonic Youth.
Sonic Youth.
I remember after that show checking my tags because the Beastie Boys told me you need to pay attention where things are made
Right.
and then they showed us these horrifying videos of Chinese people being tortured and Tibetan people being tortured. And so my sneakers are New Balances because they're made in the USA. So here it is now, 30 years later, and that one concert has changed how I do things.
Cool. There you go.
Because I respect these people. They're intelligent people who care. And I want to align with that. I mean, God bless heavy metal, but if Iron Maiden had told me
Yeah.
stuff, I probably would have listened. But here's the Beastie Boys who are intelligent people. They've seen the world, and this is what they're bringing back to us. They're like, pay attention to shit. Did you catch any of that from that tour?
Of course. I went from playing for the 60,000 people in the audience to 16 people because I was after that concert. I went on my tour to do the Mark's Keyboard Repair, promote that record, and our next stop was Music Millennium, this music shop in Portland, and there was 16 people in the audience. It was funny. It was awesome too. Yeah,
But all 16 were there to see you.
Yeah, and exactly. It's like it doesn't really matter the venue. So
Right.
I'll just play anywhere. And famously, I mean, I'll leave off with this. Art Blakey said it. The Jazz Messengers, with Jazz Messengers, like, and Art Blakey, the drummer. I mean, he was, his band was intensely beautiful, and he said, "If you're not appearing, you're disappearing." So I would just take any show that I could get. But, I would take the show, but I didn't really like touring, but whatever. When the music starts, I don't even know where I'm at. I'm here.
That's awesome. Money Mark, thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
We will see you soon.
Goodbye.
How great was Mark? You know who else we'd fix their fence? Our Patreons. When you stoke us, you're saying, Tony, Jordan, here's a sticker for your skateboard. Here's a Happy Meal. Here's a new banjo. Every donation you hand over keeps this insane project a-rolling. So shout out to our Patreons, Nancy Rommelman, Sean Atlow, Matt Mills, Sean Wallace, Greg and Molly, Jamie Taylor, Mark Johnson, Kira Ann, Barney Grinke, Ben Welsh, Henry Furman, Jen Adams, The Lonely Chair, Trevor Wilson, Bree Wild, and our newest Patreon, Dougie Gyro. Want to hear your name at the end of next week's show? Go to patreon.com/hereinla and give till it hurts. Also, shout out to our Angelinos. To be an Angelino, all you have to do is PayPal $25 or more, and we will list you in the Here in LA website that Mark Johnson is building, and it will be there forever. You'll also be given a number to denote how early you got in. Angelino number 1 is Allie Miller. Number 2, George Wright. 3, Rita Joanne. 4, Jason Sutter. 5, Grant Houghton. 6, Rob Baker. 7, Kev Chang. And 8, Brenda Garcia. Just PayPal your hard-earned cash to bustblog@gmail.com. Want to support us, but you're in escrow? You can still help. Post your favorite episode on your Facebook. Oh my God, post 2. Post this on a Beastie Boys fan club Facebook group. You can even tell your friends. Tell them how Here in LA is spelled, and it's on Apple Podcasts and Google and Spotify. Here in LA is produced by myself, Tony Pierce, and a man who has plenty of wood for your cabinet needs, Jordan Katz. Editing, mixing, and music supervision by Jordan Katz. Songs by Orgone, Jordan Katz, and the 3 bad brothers you know so well. Special thanks to Cindy for creating the logo, Jen for inspiring this, and Jordan for saying, "Hey, want to interview Money Mark?" Shout out to Gardenia!